There's someone in your life who gets respected without trying, promoted without begging, listened to without raising their voice. And if you're being honest with yourself, it kind of drives you insane because you work harder, you're smarter, you're more prepared. And somehow they walk into a room and own it while you're standing there wondering why nobody's taking you seriously. Here's what nobody tells you. It has nothing to do with talent, nothing to do with status. It's not even confidence the way most people define it. It's psychology. And it starts with your mindset and shows up in your behaviors, in the signals you're either sending or you're not. And right now, in the way you respond, the way you move, the way you think, you're probably sending the wrong ones without even knowing it. Today, that changes. Let's start where most people never look, the inside. Because here's the uncomfortable truth about respect. You can't consistently receive something externally that you haven't established internally. The behaviors we're going to cover in the second half of this video, they only stick when the mindset underneath them is solid. Without that foundation, you're just performing, and people can feel the difference. Mindset shift number 1. Stop choosing to be liked over being respected. These two things feel similar. They're not. When you prioritize being liked, you compromise. You stay quiet when you should speak up. You agree with things that make you cringe inside. You keep yourself small so nobody feels threatened. And slowly, without realizing it, you train the people around you to see you as someone who can be managed. High-respect people made a decision at some point, consciously or not, to stop optimizing for approval. That doesn't mean they're cold. It means they're clear. And clarity, it turns out, is one of the most magnetic things a person can project. The next mindset shift demonstrates that this starts with yourself. Mindset shift number 2. You are the first person who has to respect you. This isn't motivational poster territory. This is mechanical. The way you talk about yourself, the commitments you keep with yourself, the standards you hold yourself to when nobody's watching, all of it creates an internal baseline that leaks into every interaction you have. People don't consciously audit your self-respect. They feel it. And they mirror it back to you almost exactly. Mindset shift number 3. Your environment is a statement. Look at who you spend time with. Look at what you tolerate in that circle. Because the people around you signal your standards to everyone observing, including yourself. High-respect people are deliberate about this. Not arrogant about it, deliberate. They ask a simple question. Does this person raise the room or lower it? And they make decisions accordingly. And if you're thinking this sounds simple, good. Simple is not the same as easy. Most people will never do this. Mindset shift number 4. Consistency is the currency of trust. You can be the most talented person in the building, but if you say you'll follow up and don't, if you commit to something and quietly let it slide, if you show up halfway when you promised fully, people stop counting on you, and people don't respect what they can't count on. High-respect people understand that reliability isn't a personality trait, it's a daily choice. Every time you do what you said you'd do, you make a deposit. Every time you don't, you make a withdrawal. The account balance is your reputation. And consistency helps you with mindset shift number 5. Letting your actions be so loud, your words become optional. High-respect people don't spend much energy explaining themselves, defending themselves, or convincing people of their value. They put their head down and produce. Over time, consistently. And the results do the talking. If you find yourself frequently having to tell people how good you are, that's a signal. The work should be making that argument for you. This next one sounds easy, but most people only go halfway. Mindset shift number 6. Set boundaries, then actually enforce them. Most people are decent at the first part. They know what they won't tolerate. The second part is where it falls apart. Because enforcing a boundary costs something. A relationship, a moment of comfort, the feeling of being the easygoing one in the room. High-respect people pay that cost, consistently, not aggressively, calmly. And yes, sometimes that means losing people you thought you needed. And what they discover every time is that removing someone who doesn't respect their limits doesn't make their world smaller. It makes it better. Because high-respect people know a boundary without a consequence is just a suggestion. And before we get to number 7, if you want to accelerate this internal shift and actually wire it in instead of just understanding it, check out the Neuro Energizer, a mind-strengthening tool based on neuroscience. There's a link in the description. Now, mindset shift number 7. Master one thing until the results are undeniable. Respect that lasts is built on competence, not perceived competence. Actual competence with measurable results attached. Pick one area, go deep. Stay there until you have something to point to. Something that exists in the real world, not just in your self-assessment. That specificity is what separates people who are seen as credible from people who are seen as enthusiastic. Enthusiasm is nice. Results are respected. Remember, the world rewards results, not activity. The next mindset shift is your North Star. Mindset shift number 8. Ask yourself one honest question regularly. Is my environment better because I'm here? Not better because you're nice. Not better because you try hard. Better in ways that can be quantified. This question is a compass. When the answer is yes, you operate with a quiet confidence that doesn't need performance. When the answer is no, it tells you exactly where to focus before you worry about anything else. This final mindset shift changes everything. Mindset shift number 9. Internalize this. You will be okay no matter what. This is the deepest one, and it's the hardest to build, but it's the root of everything else. When you genuinely believe, not as a mantra, but as a felt reality, that no outcome, no rejection, no loss of approval will break you, something fundamental changes. You stop needing people to validate you. You stop softening your truth to keep the peace. You stop over-explaining and over-apologizing and over-accommodating. You can speak the truth even when it costs you something. And the people around you feel that, in a way they can't quite articulate but absolutely respond to. Now, let's talk about what your new mindset looks like from the outside, your behaviors. Behavior number 1. Take up space, physically. High-respect people don't fold themselves into corners. They sit asymmetrically. Not like a child trying to impress his teacher. They stand with their feet at shoulder width. They move freely through environments like they belong there, because in their own minds, they do. This isn't about being aggressive or dominant. It's about being comfortable, and physical comfort signals psychological comfort. People read that signal instantly. This next behavior comes naturally after you've accomplished the first mindset shift. Behavior number 2. Make others work slightly for your attention. Not in a game-playing way, in a genuine way. Because high-respect people actually have things going on. They don't snap their head around the moment their name is called. They finish their sentence first. They don't scan a room looking for someone to acknowledge them. They walk in and let the room come to them. When your attention feels slightly earned, it becomes more valuable. That's just how human attention works. This next behavior builds on the last. Behavior number 3. Master variable eye contact. In the early moments of an interaction, high-respect people are often slightly aloof. Not rude, just not desperately engaged. And then, when they're making a point that matters, the eye contact sharpens, narrows, lands. That contrast is what makes their key moments hit harder. Compare that to the person who's intensely locked in from the first second of every conversation. That person's attention has no gradient and consequently no weight. And you know people who haven't mastered this next behavior. Behavior number 4. Be still. Fidgeting is a physical broadcast of internal anxiety. Tapping, shifting, touching your face, adjusting your clothes. Every one of those micro movements tells the people around you that you're not fully at ease. High-respect people have a physical stillness that most people find slightly magnetic without being able to explain why. They're not frozen, they're settled. There's a difference, and people feel it. The next behavior reinforces this one. Behavior number 5. Don't react. Respond. This is one of the most powerful things you can do in a high-pressure moment and one of the hardest. When something goes wrong, someone challenges you, a situation calls for immediate action. The instinct is to move fast. Say something, show you're on it. High-respect people resist that instinct. They slow down when everything in them wants to speed up. The pause isn't weakness, it's control. And control in any high-stakes moment is exactly what people are looking for from someone they're going to respect. And once you master this behavior, it tends to show up unconsciously in the next one. Behavior number 6. pause before you speak. Not for dramatic effect, because you're actually thinking. Most people will wait comfortably while someone else thinks. But the moment they're the one thinking, silence feels like failure. High-respect people simply wait. They let the silence sit. And something interesting happens. When you're not rushing to fill the gap, you stop sounding like someone seeking approval. You start sounding like someone giving it. That's a subtle shift with a massive impact. If you've accomplished mindset shifts 1 and 2, the next behavior feels natural. Behavior number 7. Position yourself as an equal, not a supplicant. When you're in a job interview, a negotiation, a first date, or a sales conversation, the moment you start trying to convince someone of your value, you've handed them the power. High-respect people share their interest and then wait to see if it's reciprocated. They're screening, not begging. They're open, not desperate. And if it's not a match, they say, "Looks like we're not aligned," and mean it, without heat, without a scene. If you can pull off this next behavior, you know you're on the right track. Behavior number 8, walk away without anger. This is the behavior that most directly signals whether you've actually internalized the mindset you need. Anyone can threaten to leave. High-respect people simply leave, calmly, cleanly, without making it a performance. No speech, no final dig, no waiting to see if the other person panics. The walk away itself is the message, and it lands far harder than anything you could say on the way out. Here's what connects all of this. Respect isn't a thing you claim. It isn't something you get by working harder, being nicer, waiting long enough. It's something you build from the inside out, through a series of decisions most people aren't willing to make, consistently enough to see the results. The mindset shifts tell you who to be. The behaviors tell you how to let people see it. Get both right, and you don't have to think about respect anymore. It just becomes the natural response of people who are paying attention to you. And they will be paying attention. Now here's your plan. Don't try to master all of this at once. Small, consistent changes lead to big results. Master mindset shifts 1 and 2 first. They are the foundation. And pick a single behavior to practice this week. If you don't know which behavior to start with number 1. That alone will make a difference. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe. We publish fresh content every week to help you become a more effective you. Want to make your mindset shift faster? Check out the Neuro Energizer, a mind-strengthening tool based on neuroscience. It's got a money-back guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose. There's a link in the description. Now that you know how to command respect, you need to know how to protect yourself from those who would use it against you. Watch 5 questions liars always ask. Know them when you hear them. It's on the screen. Now, choose yourself and act like you belong there, because you do.